Alright, y'all, back for another video. I figured I'd give a few thanks to a bunch of people that helped me throughout my life. One of them was my grandfather. He took me in as a little kid, raised me like I was his own son. He was there every day for me when I need somebody to talk to. He was there, and I remember growing up, little bitty kid, about 8, 9 years old. Every weekend, every Friday night, we'd sit and watch the New York Yankees, and he'd give me a beer. He'd give me 2 or 3 beers. I'd sit there, I'd drink them, watch a baseball game with him. I grew up doing that. That was what I look forward to every weekend. We'd sit there, drink, watch baseball, and talk about the baseball game, talk about how good the Yankees were, how bad the other team was, how they need to keep this player and keep that player. Then when I got older, started getting into dating and stuff, I talked to him about it. Told him everything that I needed help with. And every night I remember him sitting down and helping me with my homework or helping me with my school projects. Taking me to school every morning, picking me up. Always, whenever I didn't want to go to school, I'd just tell him I didn't feel like going, and he'd call my grandmother and tell her, or he'd bring me home and tell me to go lay in the bed all day and watch TV. And he'd tell my grandmother that I was sick when really I just didn't want to go to school. That's how my grandfather was. Then went to start going to school. Didn't really like it too well, didn't want to go, but he told me I needed to go. Went to Shelby Oaks School. It's a school for people with learning disability. I went there. They changed. I went to the new school when they changed it. He took me there. Got into high school. That's where I met my best friend. That's where I met my best friend, also known as my brother, Michael Moore. Him and me and my grandfather, we'd always, every time he'd see Michael, or every time Michael would see my grandfather, he'd always call him Dad and ask him how he was doing. And then in 2009, tragedy struck. And I'm a strong person, but it hurts me every time to talk about it. It was me, my grandfather, and my sister in the car. My sister got sick that day. Me and my grandfather went to pick her up. We were coming back home, and that's when it happened. We got hit in the side, and that next morning at 7 o'clock, my grandfather passed away. And when I finally went back to school, everybody wanted to sit there and make jokes about it. But there was one person that was always there for me. And they kept me going. Now it was my brother, Michael Moore. And when my grandfather died, I turned to the wild side of life. Drugs, drinking, You name it, I was doing it. Until one day, my brother sat me down at school in the lunchroom and had a long, long talk with me and told me he wasn't happy with the person I was becoming. And he told me if I didn't change my ways, he was going to beat my ass. And then he reminded me, how would my grandfather feel if he was alive and seen the way things I was doing and the way I was living my life? And I didn't listen to my brother. And he went as far, and I want to thank you for this, Michael Moore, from the bottom of my heart, dude. He went as far as to bring his mama into it. He brought his mama into it to talk some sense into me. And I realized what he was saying was the truth. I realized that I was disappointing my grandfather that he didn't raise me to be that way. But as long as I live, my grandfathers will always be in my heart. And anybody that knew my grandfather knew that he was a damn good man, and there will never be another man as good as him on the face of this earth. He was the best father. And I do mean the best father that anybody could ask for. And no, he wasn't my real father. My real father walked out on me when I was a little kid and never looked back. My mama was in and out of my life, but she was there. Not as much as she'd like to be, but she was there. But the one person that has always been in my life and always been there and always will be is my brother, Michael Moore. And when you watch this video, Michael, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, dude, and you'll always be my brother. You may not be blood, but you'll always be family. And honestly, in my opinion, you are blood to me. You are part of my family, and you always will be. And through high school and in middle school is when me and Michael Moore became real good brothers. I've had countless fights in middle school and high school. Nobody ever had my back but one person, and that was my brother, Michael Moore. We had some hell of fights. We got in a shit ton of trouble, but we was always getting in trouble together. We always ran together, and we always will. We may not live close to each other, but we'll always be brothers. And if y'all want to know more about what kind of brotherhood me and Michael Moore had, just subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me on Facebook. Subscribe to Michael Moore's YouTube, or follow him on Facebook, and we'll let you know exactly what kind of stuff me and him got into, and the kind of things we did, and the kind of people we were in high school, and the kind of people we are now.